Hi, this video is about section F, so it's cumulative data, also called cumulative frequency tables perhaps, or if you're really shorthand it might be called like S graphs. So cumulative, what does that word mean? We hear about it when we talk about report cards, we hear cumulative reports, so basically it's just a way of it's a way of kind of showing the data over time or over like a series or like a running total of data. So we're going to look at an example here. We're going to work our way through an example. And this is going to be an example of basketball players and their weights. So this is what was given to us minus this last column. So we're looking at some weights here. So this is 65 kilograms. Is less than or equal to the weight, which is less than 70. So this category would be players that fall between 65 and 70, but not equal to 70. Could equal 65, so 65 to less than 70. And then the next category is 70 to less than 75, 75 to less than 80, 80 to less than 85, and so on. And then the second column tells us how many players fall in each of these ranges. So there's one player on the team that is between 65 and 70, but not equal to 70. There's two players on the team that are between 70 and 75, 8 players on the team between 75 and 80, and so on. So when you're asked to construct a cumulative frequency graph, the first thing you're going to do is add in this last column, this cumulative frequency column. And so this is your running total. So how many players up to this point have been less than 70? And so we've got this one player. And then when we move to the next sort of category, we're going to add in 2 more players to our running total. So now we have 3 players who are less than 75. And then we add in 1 more and we add in those 8 to our running total. And now we have 11 players that are at less than 80. And we keep going, we add 16 more, and now we're up to 27 players are less than 85. Keep going with our running total, add 21 more players, and now we're up to 48. Add in 19 more players, and now we're up to 67. And then 75 players are now less than 100 kilograms. Yep, that's right. And then add in 3 more, and now we're at 78. Add in 1 more, 79. And so this data set is for 80 players. So 80 players, all 80 players weigh less than 115 kilograms. Okay, so that's your cumulative frequency column. So it's just a running total of all the players that fall into this existing category or less than that. Okay, so then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go over to some graph paper. And I've kind of got this set up a little bit already, so you can pause the video if you need to and sort of catch up. So we've got this graph here. And if you look at the y-axis, we've got cumulative frequency up that column or up that axis. And we've gone from 0 all the way up to 90. We don't need to go all the way to 90. We only have 80. I just went a little bit beyond that just to make the graph look a little squarer. And then along the x-axis, we've got weight in kilograms. So we've gone from 65, which I didn't mark in here. And then every second box we added 5. So 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, all the way up to 120. We don't need to go that far. We only need to go to 115. But I just added that in, again, just to sort of go beyond a little bit. We've got a title in here for our graph. We've got labels on both axes. And now we're ready to plot our points. So we're going to plot the points at the end of their interval. So at 70, we are going to plot 1. I'm going to switch to pencil here just in case. So we're going to go at the end of this interval at 70, we're going to plot 1 person. So at 70, we're going to plot 1 person. And then we're going to, at the end of the second interval, which is 75, we're going to plot 3 people. And so on and so forth 11 here, and now we're up to 27 and 90. We're going to go to 48. And then at 95, we're all the way at 67. So you're going to notice that all of these graphs will form the same general shape. And so if you can kind of see the points here, we've made sort of an S shape, kind of like a reverse S. So what you're going to do is you're going to start down here on 0, and you're going to very carefully, as best as you can, join the points. And you're going to make sort of a very gradual S shape. So that's the shape of a cumulative frequency graph. So anytime you see the word cumulative frequency graph, cumulative frequency, cumulative data, any of those, you know that you're going to end up with this sort of S-shaped curve. And so then what you'll always be asked to do after you've made the graph is to answer some questions. So let's imagine that the first question is to use the graph to determine the median. So median, again, is the middle value. So we had 80 players. So if we do our little shorthand, n plus 1 divided by 2, we've got 80 players plus 1 divided by 2. So we're looking at 40.5. So we're looking at in between the 40th person and the 41st person. And then we're going to use our graph to go up here to where we see 40. So right in between 40 and 41. As best you can estimate, we're going to make a little dashed line here all the way over to the graph, and then we're going to come down. So the 40th-ish person, between 40 and 41, weighs approximately, so this for me would be somewhere in between 85 and 90, slightly closer to 90. So I might estimate that to be somewhere in the sort of 88 kilogram range. So again, because you're using a graph, the more precise your graph is, the more exact that answer is going to be. Generally, though, you're given a bit of a range on these, so as long as you're somewhere close to the correct answer, that's usually fine. And so let's imagine that the second question is, how many players weigh less than 83 kilograms? So 1, median, 2, how many weigh less than 83? So for this one, we want to go and find where 83 would fall on our graph. So if this is 80 and that's 85, I'm going to be sort of just slightly over halfway. And again, dashed line up to my graph. As soon as I hit my graph, I go over. And I see that I'm sort of just above the 20th player. Not quite at 25, so somewhere between 20 and 25. So I might, based on my graph, I might estimate that 21 players weigh less than 83, because all the people here would be less than 83, so then all the people here would be less than 83. And then let's imagine that the third question is, how many players weigh more than 92 kilograms? So again, I would find where 92 is going to be. So if this is 90 and that's 95, that's going to be 92.5. So I'm going to be just slightly below that. All the way up to the graph. Hit the graph. Over I go. Rulers might be helpful here. Try to do the best you can. So I'm at somewhere around, let's say 56 maybe. So 56 people weigh less than 93, but that wasn't the question. The question is how many people weigh more, than 92. So if I found out that 56 people weigh less, then I'm going to do 80 players altogether minus the 56 who I figured out weigh less, and that's going to give me 24 players that weigh more. So you've got to pay extra close attention to the exact wording on these questions. Are they looking for less? Are they looking for more? Are you looking at the people that are below your little dashed line, or are you looking at the people above? So you've got to pay really close attention to those. So that about does it.